Hi, I'm Jen Rubin, editor-in-chief of The Contrarian. I'm pleased to welcome back Tom Malinowski to talk about the shameful episode in the Oval Office. We're using words like unprecedented or historic, but that doesn't begin to describe what happened. Tom, as best as you can see, was this a setup or was this generally a spontaneous loss of control by the President of the United States?
Either way, it was the most shameful thing that I have seen a president of the United States do on the world stage, on the national stage in my lifetime. I don't know if it was staged. Looking at it a couple of times, I felt like maybe Vance provoked it deliberately, and Trump was just vulnerable to the provocation
Right.
because the meeting was not going badly till that point.
What was the purpose of this? Was it simply to show Vladimir Putin he's such a good boy? Or was it to see if he could actually intimidate Zelensky? As best as you can tell, what purpose did it serve?
I don't think the man is sitting there calculating a purpose for everything that he does. I think it was a power play. It was, he wants people to grovel. He wants people to bend the knee to him, as so many people in the Republican Party have done. And he now is operating on the principle that the United States will support those who grovel to me personally. And Zelensky, I think, did his best up to a point to go along with that, but there was a limit. And when that limit was reached, everything broke down. And here we are. He was kicked out of the White House, apparently, and then Trump issued a statement essentially saying it's over.
The ostensible purpose, or one of them, was to sign this mineral deal, which didn't seem to be much of a deal, actually. It was a promise for Ukraine to do things in the future, and it didn't include a security guarantee on our side. It was widely seen as a bit of a fig leaf, hoping that Trump would at least sign on to something that looked like cooperation. Is that a dead letter? Is it now immaterial to the larger issue of trying to preserve Ukraine's independence?
It was supposed to be the solution to the larger problem. It was supposed to be the thing that gave Trump a, a stake in supporting Ukraine. It was suggested to Trump by friends of Ukraine who are close to him for that purpose. And then there was a breakdown earlier this week, and the negotiators did a good job of coming up with something that was reasonable. I thought I thought it was a good idea under the circumstances to pursue this thing. And as of yesterday, it looked like we were in a good place. I honestly thought this meeting today would go well because Trump was saying nice things yesterday. And that they would have a little show and then they would sign this deal that President Trump promised his base was really great for America. We'd be getting all these minerals that are important to power our economy in the future. Well, Trump blew up his own deal because Zelensky was there to sign. He was there to do what the Trump administration had asked him to do. So that's another casualty of, of this catastrophic day. The thing that the Trump administration said it wanted in the interest of the American people is now, I guess, I don't know.
He does have a pattern of doing that. It was he who negotiated the last Mexico-Canada trade deal, which he has now blown up with tariffs, and he has blown up this deal. Is this simply a way of throwing his weight around? Does he not remember that he was the one who made these deals? It's bizarre. I can understand throwing out the other guy's deals, but throwing out your own deal doesn't make much sense.
No, except in a psychological sense that he wants to establish dominance over everybody around him. Um, he wants again everybody to sit and grovel. You know, you saw the cabinet meeting this week where he instructed everyone to be happy with Elon Musk before the meeting. So they had to be happy. Um, And then you see the shameful spectacle today of Republican members of Congress, including Lindsey Graham, who are
Yeah.
just, you know, and Lindsey, who occasionally still asserts himself. He led a letter to Rubio, a private letter that they leaked yesterday, last week, telling Rubio that this aid freeze is unlawful and very, very clearly telling him he's got to change course. And yet today, Lindsey was on TV saying Trump had just shown us a masterclass in global leadership, even as Trump was tearing up literally everything that people like Lindsey Graham have stood for their entire lives to this day.
Going back to Ukraine, the British Prime Minister put out a statement in support of Zelensky after this blow up, and the Europeans seem to be trying to do something. What could they do in the short run and the medium term that might help tide Ukraine over and at least temporarily fill the gap if the United States is hell-bent on abandoning them?
Very simple. They have $300 billion in Russian assets. They should seize those assets today and use them to help Ukraine. And also, the fact of seizing those assets would give them negotiating leverage because they would then have something that Russia needs, that Russia wants, that Trump might want to give Russia as part of any deal. And, you're going to come to the table with this guy, you got to have leverage. And they don't have that much right now. That would give them leverage.
And why have they been so hesitant to use it? Have they been waiting to play that card, or is there some legal barrier? Why have they been so skittish?
Well, the EU has met many times about this. There are countries that are more skittish than others, as usual, right? They've got to achieve consensus among all those countries. There are concerns that have been expressed, including, in our own country, about like if you seize without some sort of legal process or finding of a crime having been committed, then no one's going to want to invest. Wealthy foreigners are not going to want to invest in your jurisdiction anymore. To which I would say, well, where the hell are they going to go? It's not like they're going to go invest in China or feel safe there. So, if the message is that your money's not safe in Brussels or Washington or Paris, if you invade a foreign country and murder its people, I'm okay with that. And in any case, it's now an emergency. If they're not willing to move at Trump speed and to do things with a kind of Trump attitude, they're going to get crushed. So that's what I would do if I were them.
With respect to Trump and Zelensky, is there some maneuver Zelensky could pull, such as amending or sweetening this deal so that he says, okay, Trump wore me down, here you go, here's the last nickel, and essentially it's really sort of the same deal? Do you think that would work at this point with Trump?
I don't think it has anything to do with the deal now. I think it's now this personal stupid conflict where Trump and Vance are claiming that somehow Zelensky was insulting or disrespectful because he didn't get on his knees. And so I don't know, anything short of an apology or resignation at this point, I don't know. I can only hope that there are still some people in the orbit who are trying to negotiate a way for everybody to climb down from this.
He has thanked the United States many times.
Thousands
So
of
even
times.
the excuse is a lie. Does this go back, and it did come up in the Oval Office, I thought that was significant, go back to the original first impeachment where Trump was caught trying to extort Zelensky, and he still hasn't gotten past that? Are we still back on that track? Is that what this stems
Well,
from?
no, on the contrary, Trump has told people. I mean, I know people who have heard in private conversations from Trump that one reason he kind of likes Zelensky is because he feels Zelensky stood up for him during that impeachment. Zelensky never criticized the perfect phone call. So if anything, that works in his favor.
you probably have seen the video or the still of Marco Rubio kind of sinking into the couch. He looks like a little boy there trying to disappear. Who can blame him? Does he have any authority anymore, any credibility? Or is he now a bystander essentially in the Trump Vance parade of horribles through our foreign policy?
Trump's foreign policy team, obviously his chief diplomat is Steve Witkoff, the guy who's actually assigned to do diplomacy with other countries. And the guy who's running the State Department is a man named Peter Morocco, who seems to report directly to Musk and people at the White House, who's behind all of these firings and the destruction of American foreign aid. Now that you mention it, I do remember there was some talk about Marco Rubio being Secretary of State. Did that not happen? Or where is he now?
It is embarrassing, and perhaps he was embarrassed sitting there trying to disappear into the furniture. But
but he did tweet out support for,
of course, because that's
obviously,
mandatory. He doesn't want to lose this very important job that he has doing nothing. You know, there are not very many jobs where you get treated this well for doing nothing, unless, of course, you're sitting in the United States Senate. But we'll save that for another day. Tom, thank you for being with us. I share your profound sadness, disgust, perhaps. I simply hope that there is some way for our European friends to take some good out of this and gird themselves for the long run, go to the forefront and lead the Western world, because the United States no longer is, quite sadly. So let's cheer on our European friends for now. So thank you so much. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.